Welcome to Thought Leadership Thursday. Today, we are going to dig into the thought leadership that drives Calibre. And on sessions like this, I would like to focus on the leadership and the thought leadership style of companies. So we welcome Paul Cliff, Stephen Pike, and Rachel Smith. Welcome.
Welcome. Good morning.
Hi. I know Stephen from my work in the cereal industry for a long time, Stephen. As a team, can you tell our audience what makes you guys thought leaders in the instrumentational diagnosis, or what would you call this field?
Yeah, I mean, we predominantly are a UK-based company, but 20 years ago, we had the opportunity to work in conjunction with a food research organization at developing something novel. It had never been around before, and it was to utilize the image analysis and see whether this could be used within specifically the bakery industry. Could we take digital images of slices of bread and provide useful, valuable, quantifiable data? People had been doing it as research projects using flatbed scanners. The problem was always duplicating that. And 20 years ago, we worked on a prototype with the guys at Camden, and we then got the opportunity to commercialize it. So at that time, Paul's father, David, was running Calibre, and he saw this as a great opportunity for us to open up our business to the global market rather than just deal within the UK. And we were given the opportunity to sort of run with it. So we took over the manufacturing. Camden remained in charge of the software, but that changed very quickly when I kept going back to David saying, we need to change the software, we need to add this, we need to add that. And Camden said, we can't keep doing this. We don't have dedicated software writers. So very quickly, that became our responsibility. And I realized then, my God, how much software writers are. They're quite expensive. So
yeah. So Steve, you were talking to David way beyond this, way before this, weren't you?
Oh yes, yeah. I mean, so, we have a very close relationship with Camden because we supply a lot of cereal testing equipment to them. They have a cereals testing division. So so we knew them quite well, and my background and David's background of marketing and sales, and everyone else.
You're quite a team.
Yes.
Awesome.
But we also have the backup guys as well. I mean, it isn't just the three of us. We have engineers. There's a lot of people involved.
Right. So obviously David's retired and Paul has taken over.
Yeah. I don't think
he's never quite that
easy. He's still active, but we don't see as much of him in daily life now. He's he likes to just chip in and help us, guide us from his experience, but he's chairman of the business now.
Oh, cool. So what's different now that the new generation has taken over?
I think, well, for a start, everybody with a point of contact in the industry for my father and Steve probably started to retire. So one of the challenges was, who we speak to, who we can keep in touch with. And as Steve said, even with C-Cell alone, there's been 20 years of building relationships with customers and And also the communication with customers has changed. We're obviously dealing with this particular product, CCELL, internationally. You know, we used to have to go to every single conference.
Oh, I can't imagine. Yeah.
We were going to AACC, now Cereals and Grains, every year. We obviously went to the ASB events, and we still do commit to those because we feel that's a great continuity. We continue to talk to the right people. And as Steve will tell you, that you know, we don't sell something within months of talking about it. We talk about the solutions, what the needs of the customers are, but that's over 12, 24 months. And so it tends to be these annual conferences internationally is where we build those relationships. And that opportunity really to talk with people has changed. It's a lot more online, like we're doing today.
That's true.
There's a lot of content going out there, and that's where we built relationship with you over the years, talking about really getting a better understanding of what our customers' needs are. That's the priority for us, and that's been a change really over the last 20 years, really.
That's true. I mean, to me, your product's sales cycle is probably about 12 to 24 months. Yeah. And it's all based on relationship building, which the new generation is not exactly good at doing, you know? So, you know, and I see that across the industry with the instantaneous need for a lot of things. What have you done in terms of company policies to really scale that and meet that need of we don't have time to build relationships for 12 months, you know, we want solutions right now, you know?
I think if I can answer that, because the world has changed. And David was replaced by Paul, but in some ways nothing's changed, because the sort of philosophy of David was always to develop the product, to not stand still. So we are not, we're realistic. You know, we've sold equipment in the UK for a long time. There's not that many differences. It does take time to sell capital equipment, but we knew that at the onset. And I think as we have moved on, we have always invested in R&D, in developing. We take note.
Yeah, innovation.
When we speak to people, when we attend the conferences, what are the things that we'll explain what CCELL can do, or when we do installations, especially in the States, what's missing? Is there anything else you need? And this has been a constant through the past 20 years. We haven't developed something and then sat back. Every year we are developing.
I love it.
And that's driven by the customer base.
Right.
Just to give you a perspective from, if you like, the managerial level, what's hitting us on a regular basis is that we're now more international than we were ever in the early days with CCELL, and also certainly pre-CCELL. I'm really talking about the different applications that has come on board. So
why so, Paul? Why so are you international? What drove that? I mean, well, most companies would just be happy staying within the country.
Yeah, well, I mean, we were very quick. Steve dealt with the early days, and a lot of the adoption, because of the technology was developed with plant bakeries in the UK and ingredient companies in the UK. We were very successful in the UK market with the CCELL instrument, and also then a lot of the R&D labs internationally adopted the technology and forced us to go international, really, because it was such a category that had never been sort of standardized before. And obviously Steve's been involved with it becoming a standard method globally now, and that has, in the last couple of years, has increased it even further. We've had lots of similar companies to Calibre in different sectors of the world, market-wise, geographically, I mean, suddenly are coming to us and saying, well, we think there's a market in Turkey. We think there's a market in Australia, in Japan. And Steve's obviously been forced to travel all the way around the world, talking at conferences and events that have been organized by other instrumentation companies. And I think it's the uniqueness of the product, but also the fact that every market in the world, when it comes to bakery, has slightly different quality traits, different products, obviously, and that's driven our innovation as well. We couldn't have just solved those solutions with the original instrument. We've gone through 3 or 4 different development phases with CCell, and we're just about to start another one. And Steve and Rachel will tell you, we're having inquiries on a regular basis that is pushing the boundaries of what CCell can do, and it might take us out of the bakery sector, but I
think it will. Yeah, I think messaging within the country is very different from messaging internationally. So this is my question for Rachel, right? What have you done for messaging that has really gave you this international appeal?
Well, we have a range of distributors now across, various different countries, and, they obviously adapt their own style because they know their target market better than what we do. So I think from my point of view, the best thing that Calibre and CCell do is we're just constantly communicating with each other, technical, service, sales, our distribution network, just to kind of keep on top of what's going on out there, because we can't see everything all of the time, so it's great to have that network.
I think the other big thing is you also decide on the exhibitions, especially US wise.
Right. So exhibitions are important for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exhibitions, conferences. Yeah.
Yeah. More technical seminars, things like that.
Interesting. Yeah, we're going to have quite an interesting year now that we can't meet face to face, so all our messagings have to change this year right now.
Yeah, it's something that's really live at the moment. I've got a business meeting tomorrow where the big topic is how are people going to be marketing without that face-to-face close contact.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
obviously that industry is going to be impacted, but is there innovation opportunities there?
You know what, Paul? I've been looking into this, and surprisingly, there is a whole industry behind this that we are not aware of, and probably will never go there because of COVID-19. That we're exploring all these options, because people are so used to face-to-face. They want to meet people, actual people. I think the issue is trust. Can you use technology to trust people? And can you figure out a way to build that trust with technology? Because what I'm seeing is after this, people are going to be wondering, why do I need to travel? Right? And you're talking about millennials who have families who are less reluctant to travel, all of a sudden figuring out this technology that is going to benefit them, that's going to bring them to places that, previously, they weren't able to go, so I'm seeing a lot of innovation in that aspect, and we can talk offline if you want to talk, dig a little bit.
I'm sure Steve will be delighted to hear that he doesn't have to drive across Canada and the Great Plains.
You can see that
it's the central band of the US that I know quite well.
I bet.
But no, it's twofold. But one thing we are looking at a great deal at the moment, and it's been forced upon us, is remote training.
Yeah.
CCell is quite easy to use, but it's the understanding of what the numbers mean. Not everybody that purchases the equipment has a good understanding of even what a gluten network is. That's true. It's quite difficult. You're going in, you don't quite know the level of people you're training. But how do we do that now? Normally in the US, I'm over there 2-3 times a year. So I will sort of bolt on installation and training. We try to train every sale in the US because we think if we give a comprehensive training package, that people will understand what they're doing. They'll know how to best benefit from it. So this is what we try to do. But of course, at the moment, I don't know when I'm next going to be over there. I was due to be in China 3 weeks
you know, we are all navigating this new waters,
but
you know, so
maybe through things like Zoom, we can do remote training. We
Absolutely.
also use a package called TeamViewer, where we can access the computer in your lab running the C-cell.
Yeah, you can
So
do
we
that
can
with Zoom
actually
too.
talk
Yeah.
you through. So at the moment, Rachel's quite busy looking at what we can put together, what we can offer. And yeah, maybe some of it will stay around after the lockdown's over, hopefully.
I think this is less about the commercial stuff as well. I think we realize that we've got to try and help people in this current climate.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, people can't have face-to-face trainings, but for the food business has still got to run.
That's
so
true.
as Steve mentioned, we're working on a program of trying to give even just some basic operator training for all the instrumentation that we supply to our customers, that certainly the harvest related customers, that, you know, they'll have temporary staff, they need quick training courses. It can't be that people travel to the sites because they're all over the place. But there's a lack of knowledge sometimes. We've noticed, you know, some of the temporary staff, of course, not got history in terms of understanding the equipment. So if they've got the equipment in front of them and then they've got an online training opportunity, and we can provide that, share that knowledge, and I think that's key to helping the industry through this period, rather than just, you know, we're not open at this stage. I don't think it's appropriate for culturally to be charging people for knowledge that we've got and we can share and help them through. And that's always been the ethos of Calibre, to build those long-term relationships. And if we can help people in this current period with use of the technology, then great. That's a win-win for both the customer and us. So, yeah.
That's a great advice to share, Paul. So let's wrap Thought Leadership Thursday up with leadership style. Paul, what's your top tips for running a team now that it looks like it's more remote than ever?
Yeah, well, it's interesting. It's Rachel will laugh at me here because you've got to find the right balance. I like to think that people can make their own mistakes and learn from them. That's the key. So I'll lead them down a little bit of a path as a leader and just say, this is what we're thinking. This is what I'd like you to develop. But I think at the end of the day, people have got to learn and develop themselves and come up with ideas themselves, rather than just being prescriptive over this is definitively. But Rachel will also tell you that, you know, sometimes it's not so easy, especially when we're remote. We can't sit around a table and just throw ideas around, and it needs a little bit more of a hands-on. We have lots of Zoom type calls. In the last 3 weeks, we've had a lot, and I'm sure everybody in the world has. Yep. And I think that the need to communicate is never more so than now. So I've been encouraging our sales and marketing teams to cross communicate on a constant basis, just keep in touch. And I think then, you know, just talking in different types of scenarios, we find that the team come up with the great ideas. The team move things forward as projects. And
yeah, I think that's that's what's great about Calibre, and obviously that includes C-Cell, is that everybody kind of works together and communicates really well together, because you're
really open. Yeah,
we're a close-knit team. So I don't know, for example, I sit opposite Clive in the office, who is technical, so marketing and technical, and we're just constantly all having discussions with each other. So I think it's a really great environment to kind of share ideas, try new things.
That's
And
awesome.
I think this period means business has got to be adaptable. We've got to be able to embrace different things.
Yeah.
Everybody that I'm speaking to is the rigid and there's value in larger businesses, of course, but we're as SME, we're 22 staff, I think. I think we've got a few guys starting tomorrow, so we're constantly juggling things.
Agile and flexible. That's awesome.
So that's the way to go, I think.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for joining me today, all the way from England. And thank you for sharing your thoughts on where this industry is going. I really appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.